Hey, welcome back to the Let's Ditch Misophonia channel. Today I have a very special video for you. You are going to get access to an exclusive training that I offered those who downloaded my guidebook, and that is the 3 Keys to Misophonia Relief training. So I did a Q&A session for them, some free coaching, and then I talked about the signature program that I offer, Rewire Misophonia at the Source. So what my VA and I have done is we have isolated the coaching video for you so that even if you weren't able to attend one of these Q&A sessions, you can still benefit from this coaching. So if you clicked on this video because you searched how to treat misophonia or how to cure misophonia, I'm going to share with you the 3 keys that I have found are essential in unlocking the door to misophonia relief. Now, as a coach, I don't believe that you need a treatment or a cure for misophonia because misophonia is simply a pattern that's operating in the unconscious mind. And so as a coach, I use unconscious reprogramming and multi-level communication to get the good news that, hey, these sounds aren't actually a threat, to get that message to the unconscious mind so you no longer feel anger, frustration, rage, anxiety, in the presence of these trigger noises. And I'm going to explain all of this in the training that you'll see next. So let's talk about the 3 keys to misophonia relief. Now, you might be wondering, and it's a good thing to wonder, how did I create or collect these keys? How did I decide that these are the 3 keys you need to open the door to misophonia relief? Quite simply, I've collected these and I present these to you now after my experience with myself clearing my own misophonia and from working with clients over the last year and some months. So we've been able to take all of the things that work, get rid of the things that don't, and put them together in these 3 keys that you see here. Excuse me. So shifting your perspective, rewiring your mind, and cultivating lasting relief. This right here tends to be the step, cultivating lasting relief, that most people skip, and then they find themselves back in the suffering spiral. We're going to talk about all 3 of these today, starting with, of course, number 1, shifting your perspective. This key is where I see a lot of people getting stuck. Shifting your perspective is valuable because if you are approaching misophonia relief with the idea and philosophy that misophonia, there's nothing you can do and you're stuck with it for the rest of your life. We talked about this earlier. If that's how you're approaching misophonia relief, then you are correct. There's nothing you can do and you'll never get better. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you're creating and bringing into reality. If you've decided that nothing works, then you're going to continue finding evidence that nothing works. It's kind of like if you buy a new car, maybe you buy a new blue Chevy and you start to notice all the blue Chevys that you hadn't seen before. So what you focus on, that's where your energy goes, and that's what you notice more of, that's what you create more of. So the first thing that I do with my clients is helping them see misophonia a bit differently in a way that then opens up their mind to the possibility of healing. The other thing that I want to talk about is if misophonia is your identity or who you are, it then becomes very challenging to get rid of it. So if you, in quotes, want to get rid of your misophonia, but it's part of your identity, then your unconscious mind is not going to be on board with making that change. Because your unconscious mind is wired for survival. Its prime directive is to keep you alive. It's not for self-development or growth or thriving. It is to keep you alive. And so change, even good change, like getting rid of misophonia, we consciously know that would be amazing. That can seem scary because to your unconscious mind, it's a pattern that it's running on autopilot, and being angry or frustrated or upset about certain noises, that feels safe because it is familiar. It's what your body, your mind is comfortable with. One example that I recently shared with some people was, the movie 127 Hours, where the guy eventually, he gets trapped under a boulder and he has to cut off his own arm to free himself. The movie isn't called 2 minutes. It's called 127 Hours because his first thought was not to cut off his arm. because the arm is a part of him, and his mind is thinking, no, we're not going to cut off that arm. We need that. Like, that's an important thing. Let's not cut that off. It took him 127 hours to get to that point because he eventually realized it was his only option. He was going to die for sure if he didn't cut off his arm, and he at least had a small percentage of survival if he did. But imagine if instead of his arm trapped under that boulder, imagine if it was his backpack or his belt or a shoelace. How fast in that situation do you think he would have cut off his backpack? Probably immediately. There would have been no hesitation because his mind is looking at that backpack and knows, oh, this isn't a part of me. This is just something I'm wearing. So if misophonia is who you are, if it's part of you, then your mind is looking at that and it's thinking, no, 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 no. Why are we getting rid of something that we are? But if we can shift that to this is something that you experience, it creates that wedge that we need to be able to now shift that pattern or uninstall it and reinstall something new. So one small, tiny little shift that you can make right now, and I talk about this in the guidebook, is shifting your language from I have misophonia to this is something I experience. So again, it's creating a wedge between identity and experience, so your unconscious mind is more likely to hop on board with creating change rather than feeling like you're sabotaging yourself. So separating it from your identity and just shifting the way that you view misophonia, adopting a new perspective, that's where I start with my clients, and that's what's going to allow you to truly dive into this work. So this is the first key, shifting your perspective. And if you're watching this presentation or listening to me now and you're thinking, cool, I can do that, I can step into this new perspective, but then what's next? Because I'm not saying that just shifting your language from I have misophonia, or what I've heard lately in like the Facebook groups, I'm a misophone, right? Really saying like, I am this thing, shifting to this is something I'm experiencing. This is something that whatever it may be, right? Like this is a pattern that I'm experiencing. It then creates that ability for change. However, just shifting your language is likely not going to get you the relief that you're seeking. And so that's why the next key number 2, so we've kind of cracked open the door to relief. Now we're opening it a bit wider, is actually rewiring your mind. So this is when we get to give the good news to your unconscious mind that these sounds aren't actually a threat. Now, again, we already consciously know, logically know, that these sounds aren't actually chasing after us with a knife trying to kill us. However, that conscious understanding doesn't change our reaction to these trigger sounds. If it did, then all of us would be cured from misophonia and nobody would experience it. This pattern isn't operating at the conscious level, though. We're experiencing it at the conscious level, but that's not where this pattern is created and running on autopilot. It's running in your unconscious mind. And your unconscious mind doesn't communicate in the same way that we do consciously. Your unconscious mind isn't using logic or rationality or like regular speech patterns. It's thinking in metaphors, stories, symbols, pictures. It's just such a different language. I think I've used this example inside your guidebook, but it's almost like unconscious is speaking Japanese and your conscious mind is speaking English. And so no matter how many times you scream from the top of your lungs, like just get over it, it's not that big of a deal. No matter how many times someone tells you to just get over it, it's just a noise. Your unconscious mind is quite literally not receiving, not hearing, not understanding that message because it's coming through in a language that it doesn't understand, it doesn't speak. So unconscious reprogramming is that translation device. It can create that bridge of understanding so we can get the two in alignment, which is in your best interest. So we can get the good news to your unconscious mind. And then once we clear up that threat, then there's no longer a reason for your mind to create anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, or anything else in relation to these noises. So like I said, that's where unconscious reprogramming comes in. We can speak the language of the unconscious mind metaphors, symbols, stories. And if you've never done unconscious reprogramming before, using modalities like neurolinguistic programming, rapid resolution therapy, there's so many amazing modalities we can use. If you've never dived into this before, it can feel a bit silly. It can feel a bit weird. And it's just because it's not a way that we're used to communicating in. We're using multi-level communication to speak with both the conscious and the unconscious mind, again, at the same time to get them in alignment. And so it gets to be kind of silly and fun. I laugh a lot with my clients. Healing doesn't have to be some big, scary, horrible, painful thing. It can be fun. It can be silly. So that is why I absolutely love unconscious reprogramming. And there are some people who get to this step and they begin rewiring and reprogramming their mind, and they'll hear a trigger sound that used to cause them pain. And for the first time, they're like, oh my gosh, this isn't bothering me. I'm okay. And it's this really cool, exciting feeling. And then a few weeks later, they feel like they're back to square one. Remember how I said this next key is the one that most people skip. The third key to really knock down that door and experience misophonia relief is cultivating lasting relief. This is the step that a lot of people skip. And I've had some of my clients going through the program stop after modules like 4 and 5, or stop after module 4, and then they wonder why those results aren't lasting. It's because they're skipping a very useful piece of the puzzle, or they're not putting that last key in the door to unlock it all the way. And so that door just slams shut back on their face. This is that third key that's going to open that door wide open to relief. Emotions are powerful. Emotions are created to get us to take some kind of action. So if we think about lion and zebra in the wild, a lot of people would see a lion chasing after a zebra and think, wow, the lion is really putting the fear into that zebra. But if it were up to the lion, if the lion were causing the zebra to feel a certain way, it wouldn't make much sense for the lion to want the zebra to be afraid. Because what happens when the zebra feels fear? Strength is sent to the zebra's legs, zebra runs faster and hopefully gets away and survives. What's happening is the zebra's mind is reading this data, or in this case, a predator, a lion, deciding, hey, this thing is dangerous, and creating fear in the zebra. Not because it wants the zebra to feel bad or good, but because it wants to motivate the zebra to stay alive. That is the mind's prime directive, is survival. So it's creating the emotion of fear because it knows that that's going to motivate the zebra to run faster and hopefully survive. So we can do all the reprogramming, all the rewiring work that we want. But if we aren't addressing the powerful emotions that often accompany misophonia, we can find ourselves right back at square one, right back into that suffering spiral. And so that's why navigating and releasing those emotions it's so useful in your journey to relief. It allows you to keep yourself regulated and truly free from that misophonia spiral. It's like that last key to really uninstall that pattern for good and install this new understanding that these noises just are, and they're not actually, in fact, a predator chasing after us in the Sahara Desert. There are so many ways that we can navigate and process emotions. I love emotional freedom technique, also known as EFT, also known as tapping. If you've never tried EFT before, I have so many free tutorials available for you. You can check out my Instagram. I have some videos there. I just started my YouTube channel. It's the Let's Ditch Misophonia channel. We have EFT sessions over there, so you can actually watch and follow along. I also have a tutorial where I explain what EFT is, how to do it, how to create effective sessions. All of that is absolutely free, so you don't have to spend any money to benefit from EFT. And I love tapping because you can take it with you anywhere, anytime. You don't need anything physical. It's just you, your body, and your mind. And if you are someone who likes to create scripts, so like write out what you're going to tap on, you can easily do that with your phone, or you can take a small journal with you, or again, you can just intuitively start tapping and doing a session. It's also quick. You can do a session in as little as 10 minutes. You can take as long as 30 minutes or more. It really just depends on what it is that you're processing, but it can be a very quick, simple practice to help you navigate and regulate your nervous system. And if you are someone who isn't comfortable with EFT, or it doesn't resonate with you, that's completely okay. There are other amazing ways to navigate, process, and release emotions that are no longer serving you. RRT, rapid resolution therapy, is an amazing way to do that. If you join the Rewire program, I have a ton of audios in there to support you with this. So you literally just get to listen to my voice, and it kind of shifts your perspective on the way that we experience things to help you release that emotion and tap into something more useful. So cultivating lasting relief is so helpful because that's what's going to make these new patterns and programmings really stick. Thank you for watching this coaching session on the 3 keys to misophonia relief. If you are interested in working with me or learning more, first, make sure you're subscribed to the Let's Ditch Misophonia channel. And then secondly, check the link in the description. You can sign up for my email list. I launch my signature program, Rewire Misophonia at the Source, every quarter. And you can find information on how to apply to work with me one-on-one. I do offer limited one-on-one coaching spots. So make sure you hop on the email list. That's how you'll know when everything is going on, how we can work together to lessen your trigger sounds, alleviate your suffering, and create more joy in your life, free from misophonia.